Are you ready?
I am ready, actually. It's been a fucking long time, goddammit.
I know, it's been too long.
It's
been a month?
3 weeks.
Okay.
3 weeks.
I was like, damn. It's like, that's
Long
a long
enough.
time. Too long.
Too long.
Okay, so that's why we're starting right now.
Welcome back to the show. I'm John.
I'm Brittany.
And this is
Random Rewind.
like we never left to begin with.
We never left.
We never left, though we took a little bit of a break. I had surgery on my schnoz.
Woo!
It was a good time, so I couldn't breathe for a while.
Oh, but was it cosmetic?
It was not cosmetic. You can tell it's still as goofy as it looked before. No, I had a deviated septum, so it went, and I couldn't breathe out of this nostril, so she cleaned it all up.
She was like, you need to breathe.
Grind that fucker down and break my nose, but I didn't like bruise up or anything, so it was good.
So you're healed. You're healed, and we're
healing
back.
still. It's still healing inside, but I'm good and I can breathe.
Yes,
that's all that
you know
freaking
that's
matters.
the important thing. Breathing.
Yeah, it is.
It's really important.
It is. You know it sucks when you can't breathe through your nose. Like, you know when you're really sick and you're really clogged up. I didn't realize how much you could still breathe through your nose compared to when you have surgery and it's completely plugged.
Yeah.
That's a whole different nightmare.
There's nothing worse than that. And I hate when one side's blocked and you can't get it out and then you can't taste it. There's nothing worse than eating food that you can't taste.
Oh yeah. I couldn't taste anything for like a couple days because you can't smell it, so you can't taste it.
So you can't taste it. And then it's in your mouth. It could be your favorite food ever.
Oh yeah.
And you'll be chewing on it and you're like, this just isn't doing it for me.
Exactly.
It's just not good.
No, Chauncey bought cheesecake, this awesome cheesecake from this place in Pasadena. It just tasted like sweet cream. I was so bummed. It was like such a huge
Everyone's
bummer.
like, this is so good.
I know,
like,
and
yeah.
it is. It's like really delicious cheesecake. Like, it's not like Carnegie Deli cheesecake, but it's really good.
Yeah.
Fuck, I missed out.
What's Carnegie Deli?
Carnegie Deli's in New York. It's an amazing deli that makes like amazing freaking New York cheesecake.
Like, that's the one.
Yeah, when we were in New York, we had a little one, and then for our anniversary the following year, I ordered a big one from them, and they shipped it to us.
From New York?
From New York.
They shipped you a cake?
Oh yeah, they'll ship you a cake. It's not cheap. It's like,
no, you know what? That's
true. It's like $150 for a cheesecake. But let me tell you, that cheesecake.
It's worth it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah. It's like a splurge. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing like, I could just order myself a cheesecake. No, it's a splurge. But oh my god, was it ever worth it?
It was worth it.
Because we chopped it up and we froze a bunch of it. And we ate it throughout the next couple of months.
Do they ship it in like dry ice?
They'd ship it in like a frozen dry. They're like not dry ice, but they're dry ice packs.
Okay.
So
and
they
cover them.
Covered it, and then they make little ones, they make big ones. I just ordered one big one.
That makes sense because I went to a birthday party and they were like, "This cake's from the Cake Boss," and I'm like, "Isn't he like in Jersey?"
Jersey, yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah," and it was this crazy. It was like a rainbow cake. It was good.
Yeah, because that was his shtick, right? For the longest time, because they made this rainbow cake. You can actually buy after they did the show, they actually made the Cake Boss cake kits you can get from like Michael's or Joann's or whatever.
Oh, and make your own.
And make your own. I mean, obviously,
it's not the same.
It's not the same thing.
I want him to make it, and I want him to yell about it.
It's a cake mix at that point. You're not making a fresh fucking cake. You know, there's a difference. There's an absolute difference. A cake mix, don't get me wrong, I love a good cake mix.
I was going to say the only cake I make is cake mix.
But I love a good cake mix.
It's good.
Like as long as you...
A funfetti cake?
Yeah, exactly. Like Chauncey will substitute a lot of the butter for applesauce.
What?
Yeah, so you don't have all the fat in there. It's really fucking good. It makes it super rich.
Applesauce?
Applesauce, yeah.
Does it taste appley?
No, not at all.
Whoa.
Not whatsoever.
That just blew my mind.
Yeah. She's like, I love her baking, so.
Well, you should. You're her husband, so.
Yeah.
I think that's like number one. Well, speaking of having money to buy said cakes.
You need said job.
You need said job.
So today's episode is going to dive a little bit into the whole process of job getting these days and jobs that we've had throughout the years.
That we've experienced.
Yes, good times and some shit times. So we can get into those as we go along. But I'm in real estate, right? So that's my 9 to 5, so to speak, is a real estate agent. Real estate's not so great right now, so I'm looking for a side hustle in order to cover my ends as we go along.
You know what the best side hustle is?
What's that?
Selling drugs. Just saying.
I hate to say that you're fucking wrong, but you're not wrong.
I know I'm not wrong.
I just don't want to get into. I mean, so
yeah, don't do it. I'm literally joking.
That being said, that being said,
do you have a job opportunity?
I had a job that did such thing, right? We had that medical marijuana clinic.
That's right.
So legal drugs.
It was legal. Well,
yeah.
It's legal now, but when you had...
It was just medical use
only. It was just medical. So people had to come in with their card from their doctor and say, my doctor said I need weed. And they'd hand you the card. But we all know what they really did. They went to Venice and they paid $40 for that doctor.
Go to Venice. We had doctors all over the place that would oh, you have stress? Okay.
Well, I just remember back, and it would say doctor is in $40. And I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, it was $40 to $60 roughly on average to get a script. And there's a couple places in LA that would do it for $120 to scam people out of the freaking money. But nonetheless, we figured out over the period of the few years that we were open that it's about 50-50 people.
I kind of wish you still had it.
I know. It was actually a lot of fun to own because we ran into so many cool souls.
I'd be a bud tender.
I know. It was
instead
fun.
of I'd go from bartender to bud tender.
Yeah, that's what we had our 4 bud tenders that would rotate through.
I'd be the number one. I'd be the top one.
Our 2 shift. We had our, I don't know if I'd say our top. We just had the 4 that we had were just excellent, and we paid them very, very well.
Yeah, because do you tip?
They get tips,
right?
They get tips. The only strict rule we had was please don't overweigh for big tips because that happened for the longest time.
I see what you mean.
So I'll tip you heavy.
It's no different than over-pouring for big tips. It's the same thing.
Same concept. It's absolutely same thing. So we
need money.
But we would weigh the jar, kind of like they would measure the bottles. We would weigh the jar because it gets expensive.
Yeah.
It's way more expensive than fucking liquor when you're talking about overweight.
Yeah. Oh,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Unless you're talking about top shelf stuff.
Yeah.
But it gets really freaking expensive.
But the price that we would pay for liquor to what we were selling it for was
astronomical.
It was a huge upsell.
Yeah. Our markup back then was still good, but it wasn't as good as it is today's market.
I feel like today's market's more oversaturated.
It's oversaturated in the growth of. So back then, our average cost of a pound of weed for top shelf marijuana was between $5,000 and $6,500 a pound.
Dang, is that
today's dollar amount? Today's same marijuana that you're growing for that same pound, it's $1,300.
Oh my gosh!
It's a huge difference because when you say saturated, there are just because it's legal to grow now.
Yeah, it's because it's legal, so there's a lot of people
there's a lot of farms
now.
So there's a lot of people to compete with.
Yeah, so you're competing a lot. So man, if you
still had it, to own a shop today. You're paying taxes now because back then we would pay sales tax and stuff like that, but our sales tax wasn't as astronomical as it is today's market. Now. But at the same time, you're still making such a bigger profit that you don't need as many people coming in. Like we had on average, we were averaging between on a weekday 400 people, on weekends 600 people a day. So that's a never-ending line. That's a never-ending line down the street, always. So we always had people coming in.
Okay, but
it was such a good time.
Why did you stop, or what was the?
So we had 11 clinics. 11 medical marijuana facilities in the city that we were in, right? 10 of them got raided by the feds. The federal government came in and raided those 10.
But raided them how? Like, were you doing something like that
so a lot
could
of
be
them
raid-worthy?
So a lot of them were. So at the time, you were allowed to sell, but you couldn't grow in your same facility.
Okay.
So half of them were.
Oh, we're growing in the...
You couldn't be...
That's all they do now.
You couldn't be... Because now it's legal to do so.
I know, it's
so funny. You couldn't
be
a felon and own a facility.
Are you a felon?
Or be a... No, I wasn't, but there were others that were a felon.
Oh, okay.
You couldn't have a firearm by anybody employed by the facility unless it was an armed guard, but you'd have to hire the service out from another service.
Okay.
So it's like you hire Copper Eagle.
Also, you would have to have some sort of protection in a business like that. So you're going to get robbed.
The cops in the fire department in the city called us Fort Knox because how secure we were. And we played it extremely safe, and we were above board on like 99% of the things that we did. So we were very, very safe. So somebody tried to rob the store. They ended up robbing one of our vendors outside the store.
I was going to say that's
our security guard. All they did was bring everybody back to the back of the store, and we locked the store down. And there was no way anybody can get it. The front wall was bulletproof. Our whole front wall.
And then there's probably no windows, right?
There's one window, the man window to check in, but it's a bulletproof window.
It's bulletproof.
And then the 2 doors that were the man trap to come in, and it was a man trap to go. You know how at the bank you had the man trap?
Yeah.
We had a man trap in and a man trap out, and the doors were bulletproof.
Yeah.
So there was no way
that somebody was going to go in.
They can, you know what?
Yeah. So they had to go in from the back.
And the back was barricaded.
They would have to do it from
the back was block wall. and one barricaded bulletproof door with a bulletproof screen.
And did you have an armed?
And it had 2 drop rods.
Did you have an armed guard there too?
And we had 2 armed guards, one always inside and one outside. One in the lobby and one inside.
Yeah. So you were good.
We were good. We played it as safe as we possibly could. And the only time, like I said, we got robbed, we didn't get robbed. Our vendor got robbed.
Yeah. Crazy.
So, yeah.
I never.
But it looked like an inside job. We watched the camera footage. It looked like such an inside job.
I was gonna say,
like it was a buddy had him hold himself up.
I think like that, and I've had a lot of different jobs, and most of the time when our stores or anything would get robbed, it was mainly an inside job. That happens all the time. But I guess I never worked in a Fort Knoxy type situation. Because
we set ourselves up like a jewelry store.
Yeah.
Just to make sure we couldn't get taken out.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to.
And we had so much product on hand. You know what I mean? We had like anywhere between 20 and 30 pounds of marijuana at any given time. So cash drops and all that other stuff. You know, there's an ATM in there and all the other good things. So there's a lot of money and a lot of
It's just like all the places that they have now, but.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of them are just. I mean, it's just set up a lot differently. It is today. So after those 10 got raided for all the different nefarious things that they were doing, the federal government sends us a letter. Hey, I won't say the name of the shop. Can you please close your doors in 21 days?
Oh my gosh.
The only warning was if you do not, this is what will happen. We're going to seize your bank accounts and your landlord's bank accounts and any property.
But if you were doing everything legit, because it's federal.
Federal government, and it wasn't legally federal.
It's federal.
So the federal government.
That's so weird to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, it's law by state, but then federally, like it's still kind of confusing because it still federally
illegal? But they're trying to push it legally right now.
But I know, but isn't marijuana and like heroin in the same freaking class of like?
They're declassifying it right now. That's in the process of.
They're going to move it down.
They're in the process of declassifying
because
it.
Like, and to me, the crazy thing is like when it comes to alcohol, it's like you can die from alcohol withdrawal, right? You know
what's funny about alcohol is the only drug that you need another drug to come off of.
That's what I'm saying though, and you will die if you don't from withdrawal from it.
Correct.
It's like,
and
oh my gosh.
You need medication in order to come off of alcoholism, where something like, I mean, I'm not condoning heroin, but you don't need medication to come off of fucking heroin.
Yeah, they give you, what's it called?
Methadone.
Yeah,
you do for withdrawals, but the chances of you dying from it are almost nothing.
Won't die from that withdrawal.
Severe withdrawals.
But I'm saying with alcohol, your body freaking like
it'll shut down from shock. Yeah,
like that's great. But then that's
all day. But that's totally legal.
But we can drink all we want.
You can drink all the alcohol you want, boys and girls.
Me,
I know the rules and regulations in this country are so backwards for a lot of things.
But it's funny how they do it like that. And I think because the state and the federal thing, it's like, well, we don't really have a right answer, so the only thing we can do is do it this way, where it's like, oh, the state said it, but then federally said this, and it's like this weird mix of like. Right. Pretty much, if you get caught, you're in trouble. I don't know. It's so weird to me. I thought it's so weird. Is that your favorite job you ever had?
No.
Okay, what was your first job?
My very first job ever, McDonald's. I was 14 years old.
At McDonald's?
McDonald's. I was 14.
I was 15 at Wiener Schnitzel.
Wiener Schnitzel. Yeah, Chauncey, her first job was at Carl's Jr.
Well, I think that's like
crazy.
I think fast food is like the first job.
Because anybody can get it.
I know. They just hire you.
They just hire anybody. Yeah, exactly.
It was a lot though. I mean, it's rough to fast food is.
I hated it. Did you hate it?
No, I thrived. I'm just good at fast paced things.
Oh, I don't mind the fast pace. I just hated the freaking McDonald's.
I hated working drive-through.
I never worked drive-through. I worked there for 2 months and I jumped ship and I went to Magic Mountain and I was the photographer dude out front.
Oh my gosh,
I hated that job. And then I ended up doing food service in the park and I did that for probably about 3-4 years.
I've been in a restaurant for so long, but it's like when I worked at Wiener Schnitzel, they always put me on window and I was like, can I please cook? And I loved making it look like the picture. I was on fries for when you start off at McDonald's, you're on fries. I fucking hated it. Oh, I would have been all about fries.
No, it
was I would work the fryer all day.
And sweaty and gross in the middle of summer. It was just not a good time.
I liked the fryer. I liked cooking, and I would
the McDonald's here at the Four Corners.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the one at the Four Corners. Yeah.
I always made my food look like the picture because you know when you go to fast food and it
doesn't look like the picture. It never does
ever. And then I used to get in trouble. They were like, "You're putting too much cheese," and I'm like, "Well." this what we're selling, this picture has this amount of cheese on it. So they tell you they pretty much told me to like make it crappier to like save money.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing to me with fast food is that, I never worked at McDonald's, but at Wiener Schnitzel, the fries could only sit for like 6 minutes, right? And then you have to dump them in the trash.
Right.
But you can't eat said fries. You can't take those fries and eat them. You have to throw them away and like.
It's so wasteful.
They waste so much food.
They're not the only ones though.
No, I'm saying all of them.
Name any freaking walk-in type place like that. They toss so much. I mean, from Wiener Schnitzels to Wenchels to freaking.
Wenchels?
Seriously,
is.
Donuts.
Wenchels?
Yeah, Wenchels donuts.
I've never heard of that.
Anyway, so
that's new to me.
Okay, so any place that you can go to that you can think of that has packaged food or food that you make, if it sits for too long, it's just immediately trash.
But I'm like, I'll eat it. I'm right here. I'll eat a chili dog.
So they would make a buttload of just the basic hamburgers because that was a go-to for everybody, right? And so there would be like 40 of them in a row, and then the lunch rush would end, and there'd be 5 or 6 left. Yeah, they would just throw them away.
Not at Wiener Schnitzel. We used to put them in the freezer. No, in the fridge, and they would sit in there for a long time. I don't know how long, but a long time, and that's what they made the chili out of.
That's crazy.
So the old hamburgers.
I totally believe you.
I know, because I had to sit there and make it.
Yeah.
But you cook, and there's the extra, and you put it in this like container, and you put it in the fridge, and I swear that thing sat in there for like a weeks at a time. Like I don't know how long it sat in there, and they would take that meat, and then you make the chili with it. Which obviously is smart.
Which is what Costco does with their like chicken salads and stuff like that. The rotisserie chickens that don't sell.
That they reuse it, yeah. Which is fine. I'm down to reuse food, but we kept it in there for a long time.
I know. Sometimes it's like kind of sketchy of
how
long it is. Exactly.
It was. I was like, how long are this meat patties in here?
Did you guys like weigh? Because you didn't weigh because you worked at fast food. So at Magic Mountain, we had to put down a specific number of pepperonis. Because we made the little pizzas.
And it was like 4 pepperonis? Or
yeah, it was something like, because there's the mini pizzas, so you can have, I think, a total of 8 pepperonis, so you can have 2 per slice.
And so you would have to be like,
because they had a sheet on the thing.
That showed you how to do it?
Well, not only just how to do it, how much each thing costs.
Yeah.
Each individual item.
Like each
1 pepperoni.
Piece of pepperoni.
Yeah. How much the cheese costs, because it's a scoop that you use for the cheese.
Yeah.
How much sauce, and how much the crust costs, because it was a pre-made crust, obviously. It wasn't a nice crust.
Yeah, I don't think they're making their own pizzeria there.
Back then, it was, the pizzas were $5.75 for the pizza, plus whatever the drink was, right? It was still kind of expensive for back then.
This is
like mid-90s, right?
Yeah.
Early 90s.
But you're anytime you go to like an amusement
Magic Mountain's
park,
always expensive. To this very day, Magic Mountain's food is still more expensive than Disneyland's. By far.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
I don't pay, we get the food pass, so we get it for free.
Yeah.
But it's not worth it.
No, it's not worth it anymore.
The free food pass is worth it.
This year's food pass is not as great as it was the years before.
No, it's not. They took it away altogether because one guy said, I bought a house because you pay $150 for the year.
Yeah.
You get free food every day.
Yeah.
You got 2 meals and a snack. That's what it used to be. You got a lunch and a dinner and a snack.
Exactly.
Then they took it away. Then I boycotted Magic Mountain because I was like, I want food.
That was awesome because it was like, when Ethan would go with his friends, we're like, I don't have to worry about giving them money to go freaking get food.
And you don't give them $40 for a burger.
Exactly.
So they brought it back. Now for more money, you get 1 meal.
Yeah, and that's it though. And then drink, I think, right?
And no, they don't give you a cup anymore. You get 2 meals, but now there's like a 3-hour in between period.
Yeah,
so there's all these rules to it.
Yeah, I know. It's just
so it's weird how they do it, and I understand you like save money, but they also just got bought out.
It's gouging. They get bought out. They get bought out every like 5 years. So that park has changed hands so many times.
And I never worked at Magic Mountain.
Warner Brothers owned it for a while.
Did they?
Yeah.
Now Cedar Point, I think,
owns it. I know. Everybody's owned. It's like the neighborhood horror.
But I'm hoping that they do like.
What's his name from freaking Beer Fest?
Barry?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's a neighborhood whore.
The neighborhood whore.
That's Magic Mountain.
Gets passed
around.
Well, maybe now they'll do. We can do a Knott's Berry Farm and a Magic Mountain pass together.
Maybe.
Because they are intertwined. I never worked in there, but it was kind of far from me. It would have been further from my house.
Yeah, because you were up in the desert.
But then also no, because the Chuck E. Cheese I worked at was
here.
Yes.
The one at the ranch.
Yes.
Here.
So that was a long drive to work.
Yeah, you were already past Magic Mountain at that point.
I know. I don't know what I do.
No, you weren't past it. You were right before
okay.
it.
Well, I'll skip. I've talked my Chuck E. Cheese one. I've done that. I worked at a photography studio.
Like one of those glamour shots type of thing?
Picture people, like a more family type one.
Yeah.
Which is so funny because where it was in the mall that I worked, they closed down, and then I ended up working at the new place that took over that spot.
Oh, that's funny.
So I've worked in the same building, but for two different things.
Were they both photography?
No.
Oh, something else?
No, it was when the music venue took over, they had both sides. So and then it was funny because when I was like, oh, well, when this was a picture people, and you go in the back room, and I said, this used to be here, and this used to be here, and everyone's like, shut up, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Well, I know, because I worked here when I was 18.
That's funny. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think I worked at anything else here in town. When I moved to go to college, I worked for Staples for a little while.
Okay.
And then I worked for, then I got a job immediately for Sprint PCS. It was called Sprint PCS back then.
I was like, that doesn't even exist anymore.
Sprint PCS doesn't exist. Sprint doesn't exist anymore. It got bought out by T-Mobile.
I had Sprint.
Yeah, we had Sprint. I mean, that's where I got my phone number. Was back in 2000.
Oh
no,
my! You've had the same phone number since 2000.
I've had the same number since 2000.
Oh
I won't get rid of it because it sounds like a business line.
Well, there you go. I mean, but why would you? Because if I had the same, I've not had the same number that long. I've had to change my number.
Chauncey's had hers probably about the same as well. She probably.
No.
She got hers when we moved to Norco for a little while.
Okay.
She got hers in Norco because she has a area code from out there.
So we start off like everybody else. We go to fast food.
Fast food. Whatever crap job you can get your hands on.
Anything you can get. Yeah. You know, you're 15, 16. Pretty much you're going to anywhere that's going to give you a work permit.
Yes.
For me, I wanted to leave school, right? If I got a job in my high school, how it worked. If I took work study, if I had a job, I got to leave school
so
early.
It
counted as credits.
I see.
So I only had to be at school half the day because the other half I was at work.
I get it. Okay.
And I was just ready to be out of school. So anything I could do to leave school, I was there for. So I was like, I'm getting a job. Which, I mean, in hindsight, was kind of stupid. I should have just stayed in school.
I know.
But I didn't want to be there anymore.
I didn't either. I was 18 in my senior year.
Oh, were you? See,
so I was able to sign myself out.
I didn't turn 18 until after high school.
So about halfway through, I got fed up with one of my teachers. And I bailed. I took my GED and left. Which was stupid in hindsight, once again.
But we were
really
kids.
Again, you're kids.
When you're a kid,
your impulse controls are non-existent.
They
you know
don't
what I mean?
exist.
So I'm done with this crap. I'm out of here. Stupid decision. I mean, not that it makes any difference, honestly. No one ever looked at it like, oh, you don't have a high school diploma. You cannot work. And no one gave a crap about that. And then I still went to college, and my college was like, you got a GED. We don't give a shit.
I was gonna. That's an interesting question. I wonder if it's ever come up where anyone ever looked at a GED different than a high school diploma, because to me it's the same exact thing.
Well, so that's a thing, right? So when you're getting your first or second job, that matters. But when you're like my age
has it ever come up? It's never come up.
No one's ever going to ask you, oh, did you graduate high school?
I also never picked up my diploma.
Oh, okay.
So my diploma is still at my high school that I never picked up.
That's funny.
I graduated, did the walk and everything. They're like, come pick it up.
Because you get the fake diploma when you walk up.
I got the fake one, but I never picked up my...
hell with the real one. I'm done with this crap.
Exactly, so I never picked up my real one.
Oh, that's funny.
Does that mean does that still count?
Yeah,
like
I
still graduated?
Yeah,
I just don't
100%.
physically have the paper.
You're 100% graduated.
No one's ever asked for it.
And no one gives a shit.
I know, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, would you graduate high school? Yeah, well, so what?
Yeah, or I didn't. What do you care?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't
what
think
would
it
be
matters.
the difference?
It's not a like a point of like execution for getting a job anymore. Like no one. The only people that care is if you're going to join the military.
But nowadays
you have to have graduated high school or have a GED.
But I think unless it's like way back in the day, we just lied about your age and they
just signed you up because they were like, we need all the buddies.
I'm pretty sure my grandpa was like 15. He was like, oh man. I was like, dang. I'm like, I want to do that. Now I feel like if you don't have a degree, you're in trouble.
It depends on what you're looking for, right? So I think there's a lot of jobs that take experience over degree, and then some places are like, they're so adamant about, okay, you have experience, that piece of paper, to have a degree. And then the jobs I was like when we moved up to Washington, the jobs I was applying for, I had, like, you look at my experience and it fit like perfectly into this little window.
You didn't have that paper.
And I have the paper for my degree because I have a bachelor's degree.
Oh, you do?
But
can I borrow it?
Sure, anytime. But I was competing with people with doctorates.
Oh yeah.
The crap for the same pay?
That's weird.
That's
isn't
insane. To me, that blew me away because I'm like, yes, I mean, it was good pay. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like to shit on or anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, these guys have such a higher education. They're no more of an expert at this than I am, and I have probably more experience because they've been in school this whole time.
Yeah. Like I've been.
You know what I
honestly,
mean?
though, I think real world experience is better than schooling, only in the sense of like, when you're out in the real world and you're doing it, there's no room for failure, really.
No.
It's like you have to get it done. In school, you have that leeway of like, yeah, you can fail because it's not like it's just a project. Whereas like when you're in the world doing it, it's like, oh, you have to get it done.
Right. So when I like for like graphic design and stuff like that, I taught myself all that stuff. Right. So I read books and I went online, and YouTube is a wonderful tool to learn literally anything.
You can learn anything on YouTube.
If you can't learn it on YouTube, you're just not looking hard enough. Honestly speaking. So I taught myself everything about graphic design and how to do everything that I'm like certified in, right? Like for Photoshop and Illustrator and Premiere. I'm certified in the software because I taught myself all this stuff.
How to do it, yeah.
The problem was when I went to go apply for jobs to do those, I couldn't speak the lingo. So when they would ask me questions, I'd have no clue what they were talking about. So that's where I almost need to go. I should have at the time found YouTube, what do you call it, intros on the lingo of it alone.
Of just learning the lingo.
No, I don't know what that means, but I sure as fuck know how to do it.
But I can do it. Yeah, you're just not doing it yet. But that completely makes sense.
So like I look at them with a blank stare because I'm like,
like
I think you're talking about this, but I started to explain the wrong thing. I'm like, oh, I shot that one down.
Okay, that's interesting too. So let's talk about job interviews. Okay.
Oh, goddamn job interviews.
Aren't they just the worst?
Because I worked for myself for so freaking long, I got shunned when I was looking for work. Like when I was done, I'm done working for myself. I want to work for somebody else.
Yeah.
Holy crap, do people give you a hard time?
They're like, what were you doing in this time in between? Like, why I was working for myself. They're like, oh yeah?
Yeah. Like, you own your own. Well, yeah, even though well, why would you ever not want to work for yourself anymore if you work for yourself? Wouldn't you want to work for yourself again?
Because sometimes
I want stability and I'm tired of paying other people.
Sometimes I just want to show up and get paid. Like,
that's exactly what it boiled down to.
Exactly.
I got tired of paying so when you own a business, the first thing you do is you pay everybody.
Yep.
Then you pay your freaking rent and your utilities and for all your materials.
That stuff, yeah.
But you take care of your people first, right? Because that's who's doing the work for you.
Yep.
And then you get paid whatever is left over.
Here's your 3 cents.
Yeah. So some months it was. Here's your 3 cents.
Because you have,
really
but that's the thing. That's the difference. Is those employees are gonna get paid no matter what.
No matter what, even if it came out of, if I made no money that month and I'm negative, it's coming out of my checking.
But that's why you would want to now go work for a company because you're gonna get paid no matter what.
Exactly. So I got tired of paying my employees. I got tired of getting paid less.
You wanted to just get paid.
I just want to get a paycheck.
Exactly.
I'm tired of worrying about if you're gonna eat tonight. You know what I mean? Because I know you're going to. But ultimately, but I may not.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So not that we were ever broke, but at the same time, there were months that were really crappy, and there were months that were really great.
It's a weird thing because you're trying to figure out. Yeah, obviously working for yourself is cool because you're your own boss, right? I want to do this, I want to do that, and then when the money is coming in, it's like, I get
for sure
X amount.
But you also take in all the stress and everything else.
All the stress, and did you leverage your house? Did you know what I'm saying?
Whatever it was that got you into the situation you're in. How well is the business doing? Some businesses do better than others. The medical marijuana facility, excellent. It took care of itself in 3 months.
You know what I mean? Drugs.
Yeah, I sold drugs, and it was just
when you sell drugs, you're gonna make money.
You're gonna make money. I mean, everybody freaking sex, drugs, and vanity.
I thought you were going to say rock and roll.
Rock and roll. No, vanity. No, rock and roll, unfortunately, is not a big seller.
Oh, it is not.
Sadly, I know. You see all the freaking record stores are just crap, right? So, but sex, drugs, and vanity, easy money. Any 3 of those.
Yeah.
And storage. Oh, and storage.
Ooh, should we open a storage facility?
The most boring freaking thing, the most mundane job you could ever own is a storage facility. But it makes the most money because whether people are making a shitload of money They still need to store their crap.
Yep.
Or people are down and out and broke. They still need to store their crap.
And you have to pay monthly for that.
And you got to pay monthly
right?
for it.
So you're going to get, as the storage person, you're going to get paid no matter what.
It's recession proof. And
that's true.
But it costs a buttload up front because you have to buy the land or lease the land, and then you got to build a facility, right? The construction of the facility is going to cost you several $1 million.
But then once it's done,
you're gold. Yeah,
and you just need people to have extra
your return on
stuff.
investment, depending on how big your thing is, probably really fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's like how many people need to put their stuff somewhere?
Everybody. Literally everybody.
Do you have a storage thing?
Your place will be full in minutes.
Do you have anything in storage?
Do I have anything in storage? Mm-hmm. No, because we have stuff on our property that
you have enough room to store.
Yeah, when we lived in Washington, we had a smaller house, and our garage was stuffed because we moved from a really big house to that house. And we sold a bunch of stuff. And then we also had a storage unit.
So
plus we had a toy hauler that was in storage, and we had a boat in storage. So we were paying a bunch of people.
And that's the thing too, is like a boat, or if you live in a neighborhood and you can't have like your RV there, it's like you have to pay to store it.
Exactly. And you're talking about anywhere between $100 and $300 a month depending on how large your unit is.
Yeah. So we're in the wrong line of work.
No, storage is
we need to open a storage facility.
It's a boring ass business. There's nothing glamorous about it, but it makes a lot of money.
But you'll get paid.
You get paid. It's a guaranteed income.
Yeah.
No matter what the economy looks like. Kind of like a pot shop.
Okay, so what's the weirdest job you've ever had? Because I have an interesting story about.
Do tell.
Okay, so one time I was looking for quote unquote modeling jobs on Craigslist.
Oh no, this is already gonna go bad. I can tell. Let's go.
And I get one, and we get to the house, and.
Modeling job in Craigslist.
I know. We're already off to a great start.
We're a great start. Was it in San Fernando? Please don't tell me it was in San
Fernando.
Okay, thank goodness.
So I get there, I bring my stuff, and I bring people with me because I'm not dumb. Yeah. I'm kind of dumb, but I'm like, at least I brought people with me.
I want to make sure that I don't end up on the back of a milk carton.
Yes, so I bring people with me. We go to it was a garage, of course. We go there, and he's like, okay, so what's going to happen is I'm going to like tie you up, and then I'm going to pretend, and then you need to pretend that there's a bunch of little elves coming along to like tickle you. And I was like, what?
Oh, it's someone's fetish film.
And I was like, what? Okay. And I just for full disclosure, I am fully clothed. Okay? I am fully clothed. But then I have this like rope tied, and then.
Oh, you went through this?
Of course I did. I needed money.
Oh, fuck. Okay, let's go.
I had to do it. I was making cash. Go. And so then my arms would be tied, and then there's like, hey, just like pretend there's like little elves coming to tickle you, and I was like, okay, like really, really weird. I got $200 for like an hour, and then. But I never signed a release, and then
So they couldn't use the footage.
No, but they did.
Oh.
It was, I don't know where they put it. There used to be this site called like Model Mayhem or whatever, where people, and somebody texted me and they're like, hey, I saw this stuff, and I was like, you did? You shouldn't have, because I never signed a release, and it'd be interesting to see these pictures now, because I never saw the pictures.
Can I ask how old you were?
Oh gosh, I was super young. I was 18, 19.
Okay, you were an adult.
I was an adult. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, I was not a child.
I was thinking this fucking perv with a child.
No, I wasn't a child. I was adult age. Stupid, but
yeah, but still, you're an adult.
So, and I texted him, and I was like, hey, you can't, I never signed a release, so you can't, they need to get taken down. So as far as I knew, they did get taken down. I never saw them. I don't know what they look like. I'm sure they're somewhere in the world. Dumb. Don't get modeling jobs on Craigslist.
How many people are going to be hunting for Brittany tied up, tickled by fucking elves right now?
But like, did he like Photoshop in like little elves, or like
right?
I don't know.
I don't know. CGI wasn't all that great back then.
I did some dumb stuff for money.
Okay.
No,
I've had friends do dumber things for money, so I think you're in the clear.
It was like, well, it was a paying job.
Yeah.
I was like, I got cash. I was happy with that. Yeah, I've had some friends do some more sketchier things than that. So
I've had friends get into like do quick porn shoots and stuff like that.
Oh, for sure. I had friends
money.
doing that too.
I mean, you do you, man.
But that wasn't
There's
for
no
me.
porn shaming here. I don't care about that. You do you. Whatever to make you money. I don't give a fuck.
I wasn't comfortable like going that far. So I like that was my line. Like being fully clothed, tied up, tickled by these imaginary elves was like my line.
That was your limit.
Yeah, that was like I'm not gonna go further than that.
Okay.
That was like
Fair
my
enough.
line, but why was I? It was like the amount.
It honestly
of,
sounds like this dude's fetish film. Like he's like,
I'm
oh,
sure,
I need some weird footage, and I'm willing to pay for it.
I think that's exactly what it was. Like in hindsight, looking back now, it was stupid, you know. But I was a
But
kid.
you know what? Stupid, but you know what? There was no physical harm to you.
There wasn't,
thankfully.
no.
And yes, you brought friends, which was smart. And
I did. I brought two dudes with me. I'm like, hey, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, it's all good.
I don't
it was
know.
a long time ago. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I was like, I don't even know if I've even told anybody that other than the two people that were there and then the one person who saw it online. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because I was like, I didn't want anyone to know about it.
I never got into a fetish film.
Well, you know, when you go on Craigslist looking for modeling jobs, you just never know what you're going to find.
You never know what you're going to find.
And that was just one of them.
You can find a lot of weird shit on Craigslist. It used to be a lot crazier than it is now. Now it's really all like, what do you call it? Promotional items.
Is Craigslist even around now?
It's still around.
Is it?
Yeah,
I haven't been on it.
It's trash. It's so hard to find. Like, if you're looking for something to buy specifically, it's damn near impossible to find. Where before you could actually find stuff if you really wanted to.
I got my dog on Craigslist. So
we got a cat on Craigslist.
Yeah, so animals
we got Genji on Craigslist.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
See?
Some girl was fostering a bunch of cats and they have to live really far away and got Genji on Craigslist.
Oh. Yeah. So that's where I got my dog. So it's, I mean, there's ways to do it.
Yeah.
But I haven't even been on Craigslist. I can't believe it's still around.
The only time I ever use Craigslist is if I need stuff from like a store that's going out of business. So anytime we open up a store, we usually buy like used material from another store that's going out of business.
Smart.
I'll search going out of business.
Yeah.
And then I'll find go and buy all their crap.
That are going out of business.
It's usually super cheap. You know?
I was looking for some claw machines for sale. I didn't even think about going on Craigslist.
Yeah, I found some on Craigslist. When you mentioned that, I found a couple on Craigslist.
You did? Why didn't you send them to me?
Because I didn't think you wanted to spend they're still like $1,000.
I probably would have.
Yeah.
There was some
I found for like $700, $1,000 around there.
If they were working, I would have invested maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many people want? But I don't know. I would probably buy a machine. I would probably
talk them down to $500. You're like, yes, I'll take it.
If it worked, yeah.
If it was a great big ones.
Maybe.
We almost walked out with one. We used to do this thing. With our car club, with multiple car clubs. On Saturday nights, we used to do this thing called chess club.
Okay.
Had nothing to do with chess. So it
sounds like a safety meeting. That was not that.
We'd go to Denny's or to like Bob's Big Boy back in the day, and we'd have dinner, and then we'd be stupid. It was like 30 of us, right?
Yeah.
So we would take up, and we'd be obnoxious freaking little shits. And then
y'all were.
Two of the people that we were with decided they're going to walk out with a claw machine. Because, you know, in Denny's, it has 2 doors and sometimes it has a single door, especially the one over here in the valley.
Yeah.
They had a claw machine right when you walked in.
Most of them
They tried to push it out the door and they got caught.
Well, of course they did. That thing is huge.
They took the giant D from out front, though.
No way.
What's in somebody's garage
Where
still?
is it? I'm like, I want to see it.
And then instead of the Bob's Big Boy, they had a giant D out front. So they wanted a big D. They got some big D.
They got the big. They wanted a big D.
They got the big D.
They didn't take the big boy.
Somebody took a Bob's Big Boy before.
They did?
So yeah.
That would be bolted to the ground, I would assume.
Yeah, they know how to break things real fast when you have a lot of guys doing this.
Enough people could carry out little Bobs.
Don't be destructive. We were stupid and we were young and YouTube didn't exist. And cell phones weren't a thing where people can go, look at what they're doing. Now you can. Now
so that's screwed. The reason. Like, yeah, we were dumb because we couldn't.
Because you couldn't get caught. Yeah, exactly.
Now you can get
caught.
Now
you get caught by like 40 cameras.
That's true.
You could do one stupid thing in your life and you're screwed.
You'll just be on a Ring camera somewhere.
Be really careful what you do these days. Ring camera is easy. Especially, you're in a neighborhood, you're going to get caught by 3.
I know. You know it's so scary. Like, honestly, I get scared, like, walking through neighborhoods and because I was on, but they have that thing of like Ring where people put Ring cameras, but people were posting the craziest stuff. They'd be like, this kid stood by my mailbox for 30 seconds, and I'm like,
So what?
Yeah, and
oh,
then
I know.
I got scared that, like, even just out walking my dog, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to end up on this site because someone's going to be like, what is this person doing? And I'm like, then I have to be like walking my dog.
Yeah, there's definitely the Karens of the ring community.
Yeah, I feel like they're everywhere.
Did you hear those gunshots? It was fucking fireworks.
It's always fireworks.
It's always fireworks. Calm your shit. We don't live in the freaking middle of nowhere.
Kind of. We did have a school shooting, so it's not always fireworks.
No, that was during the day, and that was obvious. But you can tell. So for those of you that have never been around firearms or whatnot, yeah, I can understand why you would confuse one for the other. But if you have been around a firearm or you've heard one fired off, multiple different kinds of firearms, you can clearly tell the difference. There's an obvious difference between a firework going off and a firearm going off.
I kind of don't. I have to ask. I'm like, what was that? And then somebody around me will answer, gunshot or not.
Yeah, gunshots have a very specific sound, especially a handgun or a rifle. A shotgun, they have so funny. They have very distinct sounds.
I just thought about something. So again, in my young and stupid days, we were at this party. There was like this random castle in the desert, and somebody.
You'd be surprised how many castles we have here in California. It's crazy. Weird. People love building castles.
So there's a castle in the middle of nowhere, right? Yeah. So we go to this castle party. Cool, it's time to leave. I'm like literally in my car with my friend. We're all like on our way out, and we hear like pa 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 pa. And whoever I was saying bye to was like, oh, it's just a paintball gun. So I didn't even like think twice about it. Literally, there must have been like 20 people came and surrounded my car, opened my doors, grabbed us, and like ran us inside. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm trying to go home. They're like, no, it was real gunshots. Yeah. And I was like, I wanted to go home. I was just ready to go home. So then they grabbed us out of the car, and then they're like, that was real gunshots. And I'm like, well, now what?
Now, yeah, like, can I get in my car and leave now?
I know.
I don't want to be in here.
Well, so we were bunkered down in
the
castle.
Now we're in the death house.
And when I say the middle of nowhere, I'm saying we were a good hour from anything. Like, we were out in the desert? Way out in the desert.
And when we say desert, I mean castles here in California. We don't mean like medieval castles. We mean people that built homes that are in the shape of castles. And some of them are stone built, but they're not medieval castles, because
most of them are stone built.
Yeah, but they're not. Well, our history is not that old, so we're talking about stuff that's maybe 100 years old.
Oh, it's not like a castle you would see in like Europe.
Exactly.
It's like somebody built a house
that's a castle,
and then they abandoned it. So it's weird that there was even
in the mid 90s, we had this thing called called a recession here, and all these homes went up for sale because our property tax went through the roof. So all these giant homes got ditched.
Yeah.
Because they're considered white elephants. Because no one wanted them because the property tax on them was astronomical. So high. So all these giant homes ended up going for next to nothing. So a lot of the houses got ditched. Yeah, then they repealed the whole tax thing, and now that's why we're fixed at the 1%.
I thought it went up though.
We have a 1% fixed tax in the state of California. Then we also have stuff like Melrose, special assessments depending on where you live. Like you guys have an HOA. But it's a very small HOA and just covers your pool and whatnot. They don't really care about, you can't do this to your property or whatnot. You know what I mean?
Our HOA
but yours is like less than $50, right?
It's not anymore.
No?
It went up. So, it's, I guess, but they're redoing the pool. So
okay. They're making you pay for the pools. Got it.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have to pay for that. But property tax, I thought it did fluctuate.
No, it doesn't. So our fixed rate in California is 1%. And then some homes will have a special assessment and Melrose and stuff like that. Melrose is like if somebody puts in a school and a shopping center, they're making the homeowners pay for all that stuff for the next 30 years.
Yeah. Oh, Melrose is crazy.
Melrose, and some of our homes here, they're like 3.5%, like off of up and over the hill over there. It's like 3.5% because of Melrose.
And there's no schools.
No, you're just paying for the fire department, and you're paying for all the shopping center up there where the grocery outlet and all that is. Yeah. You're paying for all that.
Yeah. I know, because we were looking over there.
There's a school. There's an elementary school up there.
But they're building another one.
Yeah.
But they have to, because there has to be a school.
There's a lot of homes. A lot of homes need a lot of kids.
I don't even know about property taxes. I rent.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to concern yourself with that right now.
Because I didn't have a good enough job to buy a house.
We'll get you there. We'll get you there.
I'm a millennial, so we're screwed. Boomers really.
Yeah. We're just gonna add on to our house, so our kids can have a place to live for the rest of their lives.
Well, that's pretty much.
Gonna be able to afford a house.
That's exactly what you have to do. Yeah. It's
we're
weird.
Gonna turn this actually into an ADU eventually.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to...
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
But it's going to be a lot bigger, then we'll build a studio over there.
Yeah. So we're moving.
Yeah.
Our studio space is moving.
Yeah, moving.
Eventually.
Eventually, not right now. We're talking about, 5-6 years from now.
It's crazy just even like when you go on TikTok and stuff and you see people deep diving about like the money situation right now and like how, us millennials our percentage of wealth to what boomers had to their percentage of wealth at the same time is half.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? So it's weird.
You're talking about the cost of inflation and the cost of homes versus the cost of your the median income is such a drastic difference compared to what it is now. And back then, you're talking about a 25% of the cost of the home to, you know what I mean? Now it's something like 5%. It's insane.
But it's weird, and it's like the price of houses to what even they were 5 years ago is like, oh my gosh, like.
Well, I mean, the price of houses right now is not much different than it was back in 2007 when we had that last boom, which was generically built by the banks, right? That was all bank driven. That's why the housing prices. It's always
bank driven.
It still kind of is right now. Right now, the interest rates are really, really high, which sucks. So people that have to buy a house are kind of screwed. But you can always rely on the fact that interest rates will eventually drop. Will they ever drop to where they were when we refinanced our house a couple years ago? We'll probably never see that again. But people back in the 90s were like, oh, we'll never see a 9% interest rate again because interest rates were like at 12 and 13%.
Whoa.
So when it dropped to 5% and 6%, which is pretty average, and then it dropped at 2% when we refinanced, 2.5%. We're like, this is essentially like free money. I would never refinance out of that loan.
Well, why would you if you're at a 2%?
Yeah, never.
As we're talking about finances, we're being boring today. I know it's adult stuff.
It's adult stuff. I know we're not jumping back into time as much, but let's get back into the whole job thing.
I know. Oh my gosh. But okay, so that was my weird job was my tickle elves. Did you have?
I don't know if I ever had a weird job like that.
Like anything that was kind of unconventional or.
Oh yeah, I did. I did have an unconventional job. I felt really uncomfortable with it. It was nothing like that, but.
You didn't get tied up?
Right by the high school. No, I didn't get tied up. But right by the high school, this ad was put out. I think it was at the school. Mm-hmm. Guy was looking for somebody to do data entry.
Okay.
I'm like, I can do data entry.
Easy, yeah.
No problem. But it was at his house, right? I went to school with his daughter. Okay. I didn't know his daughter, but I went to
you knew she went to the
school. I knew she went to the same high school.
Well, but it kind of makes you feel a little bit. You're like, okay, this probably is legit.
Yeah. Right. So this guy, what he had was this test vehicle, which kind of threw me off because the test vehicle was like 10 years old. I'm like, okay, what's
like
this
a Tesla? Like a
No,
concept?
a test vehicle.
What is that?
So he had all these probes going for temperature all over the engine.
Okay, Marty McFly, did you run into Doc?
So he was basically recording temperatures of this car at certain speeds. So what he wanted me to do was drive him around while he did the data entry of all this information.
And you had to drive.
And then when we got back to his house, I would take all the information out of that software and I would input it into a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So it was really boring.
Boring stuff. But you got to drive around a car.
It was an ugly piece of crap.
It wasn't even.
It wasn't new. It was literally 10 years old. So it was older than what I drove.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is this? I always wanted to ask him. I never did.
You never asked.
What are you testing for? And when he explained it to me, he never really he beat around the bush about it. Mm-hmm. And what company he did the work for, I wasn't certain.
No idea.
Yeah, because it wasn't General Motors. It was a Chevy that we were driving around, an older, a 10-year-old at the time Impala. It was really strange, yeah.
People do weird things.
I know.
And then they have money to do it, and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I want some.
I'm like, how is this a gig? This is his full-time job.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
He has enough to make to pay somebody else
to outsource to somebody else
to help him do the work. I'm like, that's crazy. I mean, it was minimum wage, but still.
Yeah, well, it's always minimum wage.
Yeah, exactly. It's always minimum wage.
Trying to find a job that's not minimum wage is hard.
I know. Back then, minimum wage was crap. It was absolute trash.
Well, it was nothing. I mean, and
$4.25 an hour.
I know, it's great. When I remember when I was at Chuck E. Cheese, I think it was $7.50, and then before that was like $6.75. Right. So I think when I started Wiener Schnitzel, I was about like $6.50. Like I was at $6. Yeah. Which is crazy to think about right now.
Yeah, we got paid an extra 25 cents because we handled money at Magic Mountain. So instead of $425, we got paid $450.
You got more because you got to handle the money.
I got a whole whopping 25 cents. I was rich, bitch.
You're like, hey,
tired on
look at me, I got an extra quarter.
Exactly. No, Magic Mountain was a very chill job.
Yeah.
I mean, it was no stress. I didn't give a crap.
But now that we've had really horrible jobs, and not to mention that I've just also bartended for a long time. So with that comes many, many, many a story.
Yeah.
But what would you say is your dream job? Like, and it doesn't have to do with anything. This. Oh, hey.
This is honestly, like, if I could do anything for the rest of my life, it'd be this.
Just sitting in front of a camera and talking about. Just talking. But like for me, it'd be almost like just as talent, right? Like I just get to show up, talk, and then
I want somebody else to do the editing, and I want somebody else to produce the show.
To do the producing, you just want to show up.
I just want to show up.
We're hiring a producer. No, I'm just kidding.
We're hiring a producer. We can't pay you, but we're hiring. Yeah.
I know my one friend, she would do it. She's like, I don't know how to produce. I'm like, well, the pay's right. It's zero. So I was like, you can come.
You can get in at the basement level right now of $0.00, but you get a piece of the pie when this takes off.
But when it takes off, you get a piece of it. So I was like, it pays nothing and it's just for fun.
Yeah, my sister said she would do it too. She would produce, and she was an actual producer.
Yeah, so she's produced before.
She's produced like multiple TV series, And she said she would do it, but it'd have to be on a weekend. I'm like, I like my weekends.
It's hard. I was like, I like to keep weekends.
Yeah, my weekends are for the family. I'd like to keep it that way.
Exactly, but it's pending on when we have to. Anyway,
what is your dream job?
I agree like this, but I also think it would be cool to do something like if you like had a show. Like a travel show, so you got to like go to all these exotic places, but you never had to like pay for anything. Like say if I was
like the travel,
like kind of like an Anthony Bourdain thing, whereas like his was food, but maybe mine could be like hotels, where I'm like finding the best hotels and then like
we have a friend that does that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
she makes a fuck ton of money,
and she gets to just travel and like. Yeah. Let me call her. Does she need an assistant? I want to go.
Yeah. No, she actually does. She goes like on Dr. Phil and all these talk shows. Her husband actually was Dr. Phil's producer.
Oh wow.
For many years.
Oh my gosh, we can't talk about Dr. Phil.
He just quit. He just quit Dr. Phil like a year, not even a year ago.
He will. What's it called? Dr. Phil's was claiming on YouTube. He'll claim anything.
Does he really?
Everything. Oh yeah, all the commentators I watch, Dr. Phil has
we'll call him Dr. Mark.
Dr. Mark.
Dr. Mark.
Dr. Mark.
No, just to make up a name, so we're not saying Dr. Phil.
It's like, well, we're not showing clips, so I guess he can't. It's fair use because we're not showing anything. But he cracks down on people like commentary channels. If you talk about Dr. Phil, because I remember PewDiePie was talking about it because he used to do clips and he's
that's bullshit because that's the whole point of the common use on YouTube.
But he will claim you. He will take that money and he will be like, thank you.
Free money for him. He doesn't have enough apparently.
I guess not.
Yeah, apparently he doesn't have enough. He needs to take little YouTubers' money too.
I know. And I think that too. Like, and I honestly wouldn't even want.
That's kind of douchey, dude.
He does it on all of it.
I've never been a fan of the dude. So
I also would be, but I'd also want it to be on a platform. Like honestly, if I did that travel thing, I would want it to be on YouTube. I think since YouTube is my favorite platform? I would want it to be YouTube based because network would be cool. I'm sure they have more money, but it's like
there's so less control because you look at like shows like I used to like watching like Dude Perfect and stuff like that. I used to love watching them. Then they got their own show. I think it was on CMT.
Yeah, they did.
Right, and then they went downhill.
That happened to
Liza Koshy. Liza Koshy, same thing.
Lily Singh before Liza Koshy, Lily Singh, who got that late night show.
Right.
That I've never heard from her after that.
It. It's like they bailed from YouTube, so their audience kind of took a shit, and then they went to this mainstream, and then they just disappeared.
And then they're like,
that's
gone.
it.
But it's almost a thing of like,
it's like a curse. It's like the YouTube curse.
I feel like it is a YouTube, but also like me personally would kind of just stick to YouTube because again, when we talk about like being our own boss, like I want to be.
You have full control.
I want to be in full control of like. I guess my image or my like platform or whatever would be at that point.
You have 100% control, and then you know when your high is, and then you know when you're starting to tear down, and you can leave at a high point.
Yeah.
Because
you get to make that call.
Everything ends, right? Everything eventually comes to a point where gets to a head where, okay, channel is not doing so great. It's not as relevant these days. We can put this one on pause. Mm-hmm. We can go to something new, and then we can do like, daily shorts on this one to keep it relevant.
Yeah.
And then come back to it if it ever comes back to life.
I
would never shut a channel down. That to me is ridiculous to shut a channel down.
To shut it down, I know when it's like going. I also would want to do like a gaming channel. Because I love games. So it's like, if I could do like even board games or video games, like I've been really into Pokemon randomly. So it's like, it'd be cool to like play the game as your job. And I know I could do it.
Gaming channels are fun.
But it's hard to like
get gaming channels are easy.
Really? What do you mean?
Like they're easier than this.
This is pretty easy for me, but I'm a good talker.
A gaming channel, like a specific gaming channel, like you're not setting anything up. You're just gonna play games. And
I just want to play Mario Party.
Yeah, and like say you're gonna stream, super freaking easy. There's like zero thought process to it.
Well, I want to do it.
That's easy. So like we can set you up on that type of thing. If that's what you want to do, we can set you up on that.
I want to have a gaming channel and I want to play, but I want to do like really I don't want to like niche it to like just one thing. I guess I would want it to be. That one thing
is what we'll take off, and then everything else will just be filler.
Yeah, because I want to do like board games. I want to do like those like true crime ones where you have to like solve the mystery.
I was gonna buy one of those for one of our episodes.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. The only problem it's a lot of reading. Yeah. So it might be boring to like listen from there, and you guys might get bored if we're. Maybe not. I would think
they'd like it.
I would also like that. I think that would be fun because I love games. I'm a gamer.
Because they'll probably solve it before we will. So they'll be yelling. They'll be yelling at us through the other side of the screen, which is good. That's what we want.
I'm a pretty good detective. We'll see.
We'll see.
I love true crime, so that's But I think that would be that. If my job every day was to wake up and like play games, I'd be excited.
Well, that's good.
It would be fun.
Yeah.
So that's another one of like the things I guess really in reality I just want to be a YouTuber.
What is the most fun job you've ever had?
Oh man, I would say just within bartending or like working different gigs as that fun things happen. One time I was at work and literally my busboy comes to me and he goes, "Johnny Depp's in the kitchen." And I was like, whatever, dude. Johnny Depp was in the kitchen.
That's cool.
He literally was in the kitchen, comes out on stage because he was performing with Stone Temple Pilots because I bartended at a music venue. So Stone Temple Pilots was playing, Johnny Depp was playing with them. He came out and like played a song or whatever.
That's crazy.
Isn't that cool?
I didn't know he was a musician even.
He's a musician. So,
interesting.
So he was on, and since I'm in the bar area, I'm like, I literally could have touched him to where I was. That was like a cool experience, and like you never.
That is cool.
Yeah, he was like, he said it all nonchalant too, like, "Oh, Johnny Depp's back there." I'm like, "Oh yeah, right." Like the biggest freaking movie star in the whole world is 5 feet away in our walk-in. Oh, he was there. So that was cool. Like there's been cool things that like that have come up, working in like, one time, what's his name? He was a Baldwin brother.
Which one?
But not like the least one.
Okay.
Was it Billy? I don't know. He was at the place. He wanted an autograph he came to watch the performance. He wanted an autograph from whoever the person was. He comes up to me and he goes, "Do you have a Sharpie?" And I did, but man, this Sharpie was like, this was my Sharpie.
That's what you used.
This was everything to me, this pen.
Yeah.
I handed it to Billy Baldwin and I said, please, whatever you do, give me my pen back. Right. I need this pen.
Right.
Here you go, Billy. Never saw it again. I never got my Sharpie back.
What an asshole.
He stole my Sharpie. I said, please bring it back. He never brought it back.
Oh, that sucks, dude.
I know.
That's like you knew that was going to be the last time you saw it, too.
Another one was Mr. Wonderful.
Oh, God.
Came up to the bar.
Not so wonderful.
He ordered 3 Grey Goose and sodas.
Can I guess? He didn't tip shit.
Paid with $100.
Uh-huh.
Gave him his change. I think he gave me maybe $2.
Douche. Yeah, Mr. Wonderful is probably, out of all the sharks,
there's a reason he's rich.
I think he's like the biggest douche.
I think there's a reason he's rich. And then
there's a lot of them that are on Shark Tank that are freaking just lovely people.
Oh, I'm sure.
In general.
But I was
anyway, yeah.
I was like, oh, hey, like, I'm going to, like, maybe I was ignorant by thinking I was going to get a big tip. Because
for 3 drinks, at least $5 to $10.
Well, and these are Grey Goose, so these are. I would say the tab was about $30, and that's rounding down, I think, because it might have been $15 for a Grey Goose.
Even if you're on the cheap ass side, $2 a drink at bare freaking minimum. I don't care.
Yeah,
he
didn't tip me as big as I thought he was going to. So I was sad.
As big as you thought, he might as well have not tipped you at all.
Well, I thought he was going to give me the 100. And just give me the 100.
Give me the 100? Got it.
And that would have paid for that, and then I would have, which is kind of a big ask, I guess, because that would have been like a $50 tip. But I was like, he's a shark. Like, he's a millionaire.
I know.
So, like, when a millionaire comes to your bar,
I know.
You're like,
but they're
you get all excited.
The rich are so cheap for the most part. Not all of them. I know a few guys that are very, very wealthy that love to tip.
Yeah.
Like, not only will they cover the table when no one asks, but they'll tip heavy on the back end.
On top of it. And that would have...
Like the tip will be included. Mm-hmm. They'll pay for that.
And they'll tip on top of that.
And
there's nothing better than somebody who does that because... Yeah. And also, as a server / bartender, if you take the whole tab because you are with your group and you want to pay the whole thing...
Sure.
Please tip on top of that because you don't know how many... thousands of times, the one guy's like, I got it, and then my heart sinks because even if I had it all separate tabs, right?
You're getting tipped from each individual party.
I'm going to get tipped from each individual party.
There might be one of them that screws you on a tip, but you're not getting screwed from everybody.
Exactly. So when they put it all together, we all sit there as little service industry people, and we're like, are you going to tip on top of it? And a lot of the times they don't because it was such a big amount to cover the tab that they don't tip on top of it. Yeah. So it's like then we get screwed over.
Isn't a what do you call it, tip usually included in like
not
parties
always.
of 8 or larger or large dollar amounts?
Oh, most places I worked, no.
Oh, that's bullshit.
No, it wasn't. So it's I think only one place I ever worked had that where if it was more than 8, it was at 18% or I don't know what it was. Which is nice because that does cover the people, but I've served parties of 40 and there's no for sure anything. So you're kind of like
no added gratuity.
Yeah, and it's weird, and I don't think a lot of people know this. When you're a server, when you're a bartender, you're tipping out. Servers have to tip out bartenders and
everybody else. You got to cover the whole staff.
Bartenders have to tip out like but servers have to tip out everybody. So every time you don't tip, that server is losing money because they still have to tip out on that amount that
whoever made this bullshit rule for the service industry is got to be a restaurant owner. Because what happens is, like, say your dollar amount is, your bill is like $200 or $300 and you don't tip. This server has to come up with a tip for that $300 bill. Yep. It's not for the 15% or whatever. They have to come up with that 15% if you tip or not. So
we'd have to tip out there's certain places that are different, but let's just use one for example. Yeah. I had to tip out 6% of my total sales. If I sold 5,000.
That's the part that's bullshit. It should be 6% of your tips intake. And that's
But it's not.
But it's not. And that's bullshit. And some fucking restaurant owner, I guarantee, made that up.
Oh, I'm sure. No,
100%.
The whole reason tipping even started as the first place
because of a restaurant owner.
Is because
they don't want to pay freaking the service industry.
They didn't want to pay, and people were like,
they still don't.
They still don't, exactly. Yeah. So it's a thing of like you're working twice as hard for your money, but I don't think people understand that.
No.
That you're costing that person just lost money serving you because you decided not to.
Yeah. Now the money's got to come out of their actual pocket or out of their hole, whatever the tips that they've taken for the day, and add it to the pot.
Because we have to tip out everybody else.
Tip outs are absolute bullshit in this freaking country, and the fact that it even exists on the dollar amount of the order makes zero sense to me. Not on the total amount of tips you've taken. So if I've taken in $300 in tips that day and I have to split that up, that makes logical sense to me. I brought in this many tips, I get to split them up. But if I made $1,000 in sales, I have to tip on all $1,000 worth of tips.
Yep, and it's different for every place. And I've worked at places where if that table walks out, you got to pay for the tab.
That's illegal.
And I have paid for tabs because people have walked out because how they use it as their strategy is that I should have had a credit card to begin with.
Yeah. That's the restaurant owner being freaking super
and I
shady.
have paid the money
and
for that.
this goes back to a living wage, the living wage issue, right? If you have to live off of your employees' backs, like if your restaurant could not operate if you had to pay them a living wage, then your restaurant shouldn't exist.
But it wouldn't, because you don't. And then literally in California it's better, because I'm pretty sure back east minimum wage for servers is like
$2 and some change. Yeah, here your minimum wage is minimum wage.
Yeah, you get
and they
minimum.
just raised it. I think our governor here made it where minimum wage for food service, if you have more than so many employees, is like $20 an hour now. As it's supposed to pass by the beginning of the year.
But I'm saying, but at least you get that. You get it for that for sure. At least you're getting minimum wage.
You're getting
because I could not even imagine getting paid like $2 an hour.
You might as well not get paid at all.
What's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
But then that's the thing too, is even your paycheck, when you are a server or bartender, your paycheck doesn't matter. That's literally nothing.
Right.
Like,
compared to your tips.
My eating depended on the kindness of strangers.
Right.
It was whether I was going to get paid or not.
And that's literally just this country.
It's
and
a weird,
nuts,
it's
right?
a weird system.
It really
it's
is.
really weird. I'm like, I have to make sure that I do. When I wasn't a bartender. I was a fantastic bartender, because I knew the better I was, the more I was going to get paid. But technically I should have just got paid by my merit from the person who employed me in the first place.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
But I didn't. It's like, oh, you have to depend on all these other people to pay for your stuff to make sure that you can eat.
That restaurant shouldn't exist. Any restaurant. I don't think they should. I don't think any restaurant, food service, bar, fucking whatever it is, should exist if they've got to put the weight of all the work on the freaking server's freaking shoulders.
And that's what it comes down to.
And it's bullshit.
It's how it is.
If I can't operate my business without paying people, I shouldn't exist.
Like you should just be paying them the amount that they deserve to be getting, because and it's a hard job, because not only are you doing customer service like you would do in like retail, but you're dealing with food, and then if you're in a bar situation, you're dealing with drunk people. So it's like that makes it even harder. Exactly. And you better hope there's security there, because they always get, there's always something. There's always some guy yelling about.
It's always some guy.
It's always some guy. Oh, the women, they'll get crazy.
You get some crazy Karens out there too.
But so it's funny that, like, I don't know. Now I've chosen not to be in that industry anymore, because I've just been in restaurant for so long that I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
And I want to do something I'm passionate about. Like, yeah, that paid the bills, but now I want to go within passion. That's where I'm leading now, which also I'm all broke, so
High five to me,
it works, but it doesn't work.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's like a 50-50.
Yeah, so then it comes down to, okay, we're gonna apply for fucking jobs. Applying for jobs is a wonderful task in our life.
Oh, it's so crazy applying for jobs.
Okay, so
it's nuts.
You have all these a million freaking. There's like literally 100 freaking sites out there to sign up with, like ZipRecruiter and Hired and Indeed and everything else, right? So you register for this freaking stupid site. You put all your information on, or better yet, import your resume.
Yep.
Import your resume, grabs none of the content from it.
Nope.
So now you got to go and fill it in anyway.
Yep.
And then it still asks you to upload a resume.
Yep.
Okay, cover letter. Well, cover letter is very specific to per job. So why would I want to upload a fucking cover letter?
I rewrite one every time.
And that's bullshit that you even have to.
I rewrite a new cover letter.
Yeah, I know.
I gave
up on that bullshit.
Did you?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Cover letters can eat a dick. I don't care anymore.
I do
They're such bullshit.
It doesn't work because I'm not employed.
So then you find a job that's like, oh, this one's like exactly a perfect match to my resume. And then you go and click on it. It's like, oh, you can't apply through Indeed anymore. You got to apply through the company's website. Now you got to import your information all over again.
And you're starting from scratch.
Jesus freaking Christ.
And then when you go in to interview, then you have to physically write on the application again.
Depending on the job, they'll have you fill it back out again. Or they'll ask you for a copy of your resume as if they didn't get it online through the recruiting office.
Print it out?
What the fuck?
It's really crazy.
And such a process to even get looked at. And then there are so many good candidates for jobs that get like just passed on because of improper like spider searches through their system, right?
Well,
So,
if your resume doesn't hit the keywords that they're looking for, because the resumes get pushed
skipped
through a whole nother system before a person even sees it.
a spider freaking goes through and reads it before a human being ever gets eyes on it.
So if you don't hit your keywords, you're never going to make it through that.
So you got to like fill your resume full of bullshit to begin with, just so it matches the keywords on the job description. And every job description is different. So you got to change your resume for each individual job description.
And I do.
So that resume that's on Indeed doesn't make a fucking difference.
Exactly. It's literally like, it's this vicious cycle that kind of doesn't make sense. And the weirder thing is too, when you go, you'll see a place, like just even like a retail job, it'll say now hiring.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you go in and say, hey, I would like a job.
No, you go apply online.
Go apply online and you never hear anything
again. You never hear anything from them again.
I'm like, well, let me speak to someone. Let me talk.
I have friends here at the Lowe's, right? So not that I was looking for a job, but one of Ethan's friends was looking for a job, and I happened to go in there and I went, hey, Armando, are you guys hiring? Oh yeah, we're always hiring.
Yeah.
Like for high school kids, he's like, we're always hiring high school kids. They bring the carts in, they do the checkout, stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
Stock shelves, whatever. I'm all, awesome. How do you apply? You just come in and just apply at the front desk. So I sent the kid there. And he goes in, and they're like, no, you have to go apply online. And he applies online, and he never hears from them again.
I was going to say, you never hear from him again.
What? He's a kid looking for a kid-style job, and he still doesn't get freaking word back from them. And he actually had work experience before. He had a job prior to that.
And, you know, this is the truth. It all comes down to who you know.
It really does. Well, especially in the industry of said entertainment, it's definitely who you freaking know.
It's only who you know.
Yeah, in the entertainment industry, it's almost always who you know. Like when you're jumping from one production to another production, it's almost always a recommendation from somebody that you know. Hey, this person's a great freaking, audio technician, whatever it is, then bring them in.
But it's so hard because it's the people that are trying or have been working for it and it's like needs to just get their foot in the door. It's like...
Oh, I know. It's like, how am I supposed to get experience without getting experience?
Go
find a place that's willing to give you experience. Okay.
I know.
Explain that one.
It's honestly, it's such this vicious cycle where it's like, honestly, we're just trying to have jobs where we can feed our kids.
I know, exactly. No, one job that I applied for when we moved up to Washington was, it was a social media position, like social media manager. And I ticked all the marks, right? Everything was exactly what's on my resume, and everything was copacetic. The owner of the company or CEO, whoever it was that I was interviewing with at the time, he saw where we lived. So the job was in Bellevue, and we lived probably about maybe 15 minutes from Bellevue.
Okay.
Right? Not even that, like 10 minutes from Bellevue.
You were way north.
No, it's just...
Or is that south? I'm thinking Bellingham.
Yeah, no, east of Seattle. And it was about 10 minutes. Maybe it was about a 10-minute drive, right? With no traffic. And he's like, oh, you live in this neighborhood? Oh, yeah. That's too far of a drive. I'm like, do you expect me to live, like, walking distance?
But isn't that up to you? Yeah, isn't that determined by you? You want to drive or not?
I have a car.
That's what I'm saying, though. If they say, hey, be here at 8 o'clock, you're going to leave an hour before or wherever you need to.
It was a remote position.
Shut up. Then why would it matter?
I don't know.
So is that just an excuse?
I think so.
Like that was
he just didn't like me, yeah.
I know, but then just say no,
he did go into the whole you were self-employed thing. Like he was clearly turned off by the fact that I owned a business.
That you own a business.
And I don't, on my resume doesn't state that I own anything. He just figured it out.
If you were hiring someone, would that be something that would deter you, or do you think that would be something that you would look forward to?
So if I'm like, say I own my screen print shop again, right? And I'm hiring somebody to run the presses, and they ran, like they were the foreman of a shop, but then they ended up owning a shop, why wouldn't I hire them?
Because they know how to do it.
They know how to do everything.
It's just because their shop didn't work out.
So I can step away, and they can run the shop for me if I wanted to.
Yeah.
No, I think that person is more valuable.
Because they know the ins and outs. And that's the thing, too, is
they know more than just the one aspect of it. They know the whole gamut.
I was going to say, they have the experience of the whole spectrum because they know what it's like to build up from start to beginning. But apparently people don't look at that the same. They look at that as being a threat of some sort. Like, I'm going to come in and take over their fucking corporation. You know what I mean? I'm not... Yeah. I really don't know what the stigma is. I want to do that. I would totally take over a corporation. Yeah. That sounds great.
I did. One.
You did?
Yeah. So to go buy out. I did do that once.
Oh, so what you just said makes sense of why somebody wouldn't hire you.
Yeah, but they didn't hire me. I was trying to buy in, but I ended up taking over.
Oh, and you took it over.
Yeah, because they were incapable. But that was just me buying a business.
But that's different. You weren't looking to work there.
No. I was looking for, so when I bought my screen print shop, I had a very small shop, probably about the size of this building, times 2, right?
Okay.
Small press, hand manual press. I did all the work, pressing everything myself.
I would say about, 800 square feet, just for
something like
listeners?
That. Yeah, but 800, maybe 1,000 square feet with the office space in the front, right?
Okay.
And it was a manual press. People would come in for short runs, 24 shirts, 30 shirts, 40 shirts.
Field trip things.
Yeah, stuff for the schools or contractors wanting to get printed shirts for their painters or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. I ended up getting a job for 1,000 items, 1,000 shirts. I'm like, well, I can't hand press that. I got to source that out.
Outsource.
Right, so I called up a bunch of shops and I found one that was really nearby. So I drove over there really quick, like literally a block away from where my shop was. Big shop. They had two big, like 16 color presses, a big 8 color press, a 6 color press, 2 massive 16 head embroidery machines.
So 1,000 to them wasn't bad.
It was nothing. They did like 10,000, 100,000 piece runs all the time. Hey, can you run this job for me? How much would it be? Blah, blah, blah. I sat down with the owner.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, no problem. Put together a bid. He's all, here's the problem. This is a Friday.
Okay.
He's all, we close our doors this afternoon. I'm like, yeah.
Like for the weekend?
I'm like, yeah, you usually do. He's like, no, we're going out of business. We're selling everything off on Monday. Oh. What do you want for the business?
I
literally said, what do you want for the business?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we need an investor to come in and help bail us out, and then we could,
and then go from there.
And get a third of the whole deal. Mm-hmm. Well, it was really clear to me that they were incapable. They've never had before, and they were incapable of running the business properly. So I'm like, okay, so I just ended up taking it over from them.
So you just bought it?
I kind of pushed them out.
And you took them out. You took them over.
Yeah, I mean, they got money. Don't get me wrong. They got paid.
So, but I was going to say, they sold the business.
They got the buy-in, and they ended up selling the business to my company.
They sold to you.
For pennies on the dollar.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, little evil dictator over here.
Oh, yeah. They were so incapable of running that business. They're the reason why it tanked in 6 months. They tanked it in 6 months.
Oh, it was only open for 6 months?
The company was around for 30 years.
Then they took over.
The guy was the foreman, bought the business from the previous owner, tanked it in 6 months.
But if he was the foreman, he would know how to do everything, you would assume.
Foreman knows how to run the print shop, didn't know how to run. He's not a businessman. So not anybody who's capable of doing the work is capable of also running a business.
Yeah.
Not everybody who's capable of running a business is also capable of doing all the work. Right? So this guy was great in the shop. He could run a shop.
He knew the shop work part of it.
Very well. Like, he knew exactly what everything was going to cost. He knew what we could do and what we couldn't do. Yeah. But when it came to running a business, he just wasn't that guy. It
makes sense because I feel like I know everything about restaurant and can do all the work, but I wouldn't know how to start being the owner of a restaurant.
Right,
exactly. I can do all the groundwork.
Over time, you probably could figure it out. You're not an idiot.
No, I'm a quick learner.
Same with him. He could have probably figured it out over time.
But it didn't work out.
You need a lot of money to do that.
Yeah.
To figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, that's what makes it hard.
The part that was hard was he never really approached the ex-owner for help. I did.
I called
the original owner
and said, hey, I own this now. He
came in and sat down with me and told me all the ins and outs and who to talk to, blah, blah, blah. We talked like once a week for months.
Yeah. So he was helping you.
Oh, hell yeah.
Maybe.
So I turned that business around in like 6 months.
This is just speculation because I like to speculate. Maybe since the foreman took it over, he thought that going back and asking the previous owner would make it like a failure on his part.
No, because when you buy a business in general, and this is just good advice for anybody, when you buy a business, you also want to buy the owner's time for X period of time.
So they can help you.
6 months, a year. Like this one guy where we used to live, he owned a concrete dye company. They sold the dye that goes in concrete in like all of the West Coast, right? Yeah. Huge company.
He's like the one.
So when he sold the company, they also bought his time for 3 years to stay on, to assist them to make sure the company thrives. Because you don't want the company to fail.
No. But that's
you can't go in going, I know everything, because you don't.
You don't.
Especially a business, unless you've done the business before.
But I would assume that foreman would have known because he was doing it for X amount of time anyway. But Who knows? I'm just speculating.
But I mean, even if like say I were to go in and buy another screen print shop, just because I know the process of owning the screen print shop and all the ins and outs, I still don't know their process.
Like that process.
I don't know their
shop.
contacts. I don't know their vendors. I want to learn all that.
All of it.
So I'd want to keep them on for a while, retain them for a while. So part of the purchase price is keeping them there for a bit.
Yeah.
And they have to sign a contract stating they're going to stay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're reneging.
There you go.
You know?
That's a smart way to do it. What's the worst job you ever had?
What is the worst job you've ever had? And what is the best job you've ever had? Or have you had one yet that you can even consider a best job?
Yeah, what would you consider to be the best job for you? Everyone's different.
Yeah. So what did, or even better yet, here's a great little freaking tally of what was the job you really wanted to do, but you just settled for what you're doing today? And there's so many people that do that.
Or did you ever get your dream job and then be like, this isn't for me?
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, if, say, somebody always wanted to be, a freaking pro trampoline jumper, and then they were a pro trampoline jumper,
and then they end up realizing it sucks.
And they hated it, yeah. Thanks for going on this job ride with us.
This has been quite the ride.
It was fun.
I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I certainly did. And do all the little things down below, the likes and the subscribes and all the wonderful things. And don't forget to
backhand the notification bell.
Like Dad did. And until the next one. See ya.
Bye. Did we peek?
Peek.
Peek, 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 peek.
Peek, 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 peek.
Nickelodeon.